7-0? Is that possible with this deck? So if you want to know what the deck list is, let me go ahead and go over the deck list. I haven't done that in a while, so that way I can upload this as well to YouTube so that people can get the deck tech of what I've been doing so far. So if you haven't heard of this deck before, I run this deck also in Standard. It's modified with the actual Standard list, which you will see later once they add it to the game next week. But it's Red-White Historic. We start off with the Teshar Mox Amber combo, because I do believe it's very good and it allows me to get creatures back even if they die in combat or if they die to other things in the game. So I'm running 3 Mox Amber in this version. I'm actually running 3 Mox Amber in my regular Standard deck as well. We are running 2 Teshar Ancestors Apostle. We're running 3 Legion's Landing. It is also a historic card, so it can trigger Teshar and other stuff in the deck. 3 Magma Spray to deal with creatures in the early game if there are too many creatures that we can't deal with, or flyers or what have you. 4 Knight of Grace to defend against any deck running black. 2 Seal Away to defend against any creatures that tap, including Lyra Dawnbringer. 4 Lightning Strike for reach, for the ability to kill creatures that we cannot get to in combat. 2 Blackblade Reforged, a card that increases with +1/+1 for every land that we control, and is actually a great follow-up to the next card, Danitha Capuchin Paragon, because Blackblade Reforged will cost 1 less to cast, and then be 3 mana to equip to Danitha, meaning you can cast Danitha on turn 3, and then Blackblade Reforged on turn 4. Danitha Capuchin Paragon is also First Strike Vigilance Lifelink, so when Blackblade Reforged is on Danitha Capuchin, that turn she will be a 6/6 First Strike Vigilance Lifelink with the ability to attack that turn. History of Benalia is a one-of because I only have 1 History of Benalia at the moment. I'm looking to add more to the deck because I do believe it's a fantastic card that's really hard to get, really hard for opponents to get through. I have 1 Captain Lannery Storm because I don't have extra Lannery Storms to add to the deck. We use her for her haste ability when we bring her back from the graveyard with Teshar, and we also use her to sacrifice treasures to give us extra mana to cast more things. This deck wants to cast several cards a turn so we can get lots of value and lots of aggro on the board. We're running 3 Squee the Immortal because in this current best of 1 format, the ability to have him come back from the graveyard over and over again to use the Blackblade Reforged is really good. We're also using 1 Valduk Keeper of the Flame because he's a really good card that can come out of nowhere and have a bunch of different equipment on him to make it so we can have a bunch of 3/1s. We're running 1 Forebear's Blade because when our creatures die, we can swap that blade onto another creature and make it a little bit more menacing, especially really good with History of Benalia. We're running 2 Teshar, as stated before. We're running 3 Karn, Scion of Urza. I kind of want to run 4. Don't have another Mythic wildcard to do so. Which allows us to get us card advantage. We actually have the ability to have a bunch of artifacts out to get more value out of that. And once we have Heart of Kiran, we're going to be able to add that to our deck to get more value out of Karn and Chandra, which will be given to us with the Kaladesh update. We have 2 Jaya's Immolating Inferno. I typically have 3 of these in my main deck in Standard, and I have in the sideboard Urza's Ruinous Blast that we can use if the opponent is not running too many legendary creatures. We have 7 Plains, 2 Shepherd Dunes, because we have a wide board at sometimes, 7 Mountain, 1 Ramanop Ruins for extra reach, which will go away once the ban list goes into effect, 4 Cliff Top Retreat, because dual lands are amazing, and 1 Field of Ruins, so we can get rid of an opposing player's lands that are too good, okay? So that is our current deck. If you want to look at the actual stats on this deck, we've got a little bit more red than white, some colorless cards. We've got 14 creatures, 24 non-creatures. This is a little bit false because some of our cards that are non-creatures make creatures. 22 lands. We have 9 0-1 cards, 14 2 cards, 3 10, and 4 5. So our curve is really good. It's more of a mid-range deck, but we pushed it into more of an aggro version. It was more mid-range before. We had a lot of 4 converted mana cost cards, but we pushed it into more aggro so we can deal with control on the ladder. And that is it for our listing of Red-White Historic, and I appreciate everyone checking out this list. So let's go back to the actual gameplay here in our Quick Constructed. We've got our beta key giveaway still going on. If you need to know what the beta key is, of course, you can do !beta key. We're going all the way until 9 o'clock tonight. That is our list there. We've got our beta keys are coming. We don't have them currently, but we are getting them. so that